She said, "You're too safe. I miss the excitement my ex gave me." So I let her have the excitement. I moved out overnight, deleted every photo, froze the joint account, and left a note that read, "Have fun with the thrill. Rent's due Monday." Hey viewers, huge thanks to everyone who's already subscribed. We're getting super close to 10,000. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and help us reach that milestone. My ex-girlfriend is currently scrambling to find a new living situation because she thought excitement was more important than stability. Turns out the thrill of uncertainty includes things like qualifying for apartments on a part-time boutique salary. 2 weeks ago, she was comparing me to her ex and telling me I needed to be more spontaneous. Today, she's learning what spontaneous really looks like when someone removes the financial safety net she was criticizing. I'm 33M, work as an IT director for a mid-size company, make around 110K. Been living with Vanessa, 29F, for about 8 months. She works part-time at a boutique, makes maybe 30K annually when she shows up consistently. We moved in together back in March when her previous roommate situation fell apart. The lease is in my name since my credit and income qualified us for a better place than either of us could afford alone. I handled the major expenses: rent, utilities, groceries, car insurance for both of us. Vanessa contributed what she could toward groceries and miscellaneous costs, but her income was irregular and her priorities were questionable. Didn't mind covering the difference, because that's what partnerships are about. Plus, she was usually appreciative and made efforts to contribute in non-financial ways. But over the past month, Vanessa started getting restless, complaining about our routine, saying our relationship lacked passion, making comments about how boring our life together was. "We never do anything spontaneous anymore," she'd say while I was paying bills or planning our weekly budget. "We could plan a weekend trip if you want," I'd suggest. "That's not spontaneous if we plan it." Fair enough. But spontaneity is hard when you're the only one managing household finances and adult responsibilities. Last week, the complaints escalated. Vanessa started bringing up her ex Derek more frequently. How unpredictable he was, how he'd surprise her with random adventures, how exciting their relationship had been. Derek would just show up with concert tickets and we'd drive to another city for the weekend. That sounds expensive and impractical. That's the point. Life isn't supposed to be practical all the time. Tuesday evening, while I was reviewing our monthly expenses, Vanessa dropped the bomb. "Alex, we need to talk about something serious." "What's up?" "I've been thinking about us, about our relationship, and I'm just not happy with how predictable everything has become." I closed my laptop. "Okay, what would make you happier?" "I need excitement. I need someone who challenges me, who keeps me guessing." "You're too safe?" "Too safe? Yeah. You pay bills on time, you grocery shop with lists, you plan everything out. There's no spontaneity, no passion, no thrill. So being financially responsible and organized is a bad thing?" "It's not bad, it's just boring. I miss the excitement Derek gave me, the uncertainty, the adventure, the feeling that anything could happen." "Derek also left you broke and homeless, which is how you ended up here." "At least he made me feel alive." "That's done more than I expected." Here I was providing stability, security, and partnership, and she was comparing me unfavorably to someone who'd abandoned her with unpaid rent and maxed out credit cards. "So what are you saying exactly?" "I'm saying I need someone who can match Derek's energy. Someone who's not afraid to take risks, who doesn't need to plan everything, who can be spontaneous and exciting." "And you don't think I can be that person?" "Honestly, no. You're wired for safety and stability. That's not necessarily wrong, but it's not what I need right now." "What do you need right now?" "I need the kind of man who would take risks, who would surprise me with crazy adventures, who would choose excitement over security." I nodded slowly. "Someone like Derek." "Someone like Derek, yes. And you think I'm too boring and predictable to ever be that person?" "I think you're a really good guy, Alex, but we want different things. I want excitement and passion. You want routine and stability." That night I lay in bed thinking about what Vanessa had said. She wanted excitement, spontaneity, someone who would choose thrill over security. She wanted someone who would make impulsive decisions without considering consequences. By Wednesday morning, I decided to give her exactly what she asked for. Update 1. The Strategic Exit. Wednesday, I started planning the most spontaneous decision of my adult life. But I did it the smart way, with proper legal and financial preparation. First call was to my lawyer friend Mike about lease obligations and property rights. If the lease is in your name only, you can terminate it with proper notice, he said. But you'll need to give her reasonable time to find alternative housing, usually 30 days. What about shared property? Document everything. Take photos of what you brought into the relationship versus what you bought together. Next call was to my bank about the joint account we'd set up for household expenses. You can withdraw funds you contributed and close the account, the representative explained, but you'll need to provide notice to the other account holder. Since I'd been covering about 80% of our shared expenses, most of the account balance was from my contributions anyway. I spent Wednesday evening and Thursday documenting everything. Photos of my furniture with purchase receipts, lists of items I'd brought into the relationship, records of my financial contributions to shared expenses. Thursday, I also started apartment hunting online. Found a nice one-bedroom closer to work that I could afford easily on my income alone. Friday, I called my landlord and gave formal 30-day notice to terminate the lease. Explained that my roommate situation was ending and I'd be moving out. What about the other tenant, he asked. She'll need to qualify for a new lease on her own or find alternative housing within the 30 days. Understood. I'll send the paperwork. That evening, I sat Vanessa down for a conversation. I've been thinking about what you said Tuesday night. Yeah? And? You're right. We want different things. You want excitement and unpredictability. I want stability and partnership. So what does that mean? It means I'm moving out. I gave the landlord 30 days notice today. Her face went white. What do you mean you're moving out? I mean the lease is in my name and I'm terminating it. You'll have 30 days to find your own place or qualify to take over the lease. Alex, you can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. I'm removing myself from a living situation where my financial responsibility is being criticized. You wanted someone spontaneous who takes risks. This is me taking the risk of living alone instead of supporting someone who thinks I'm boring. But I can't afford this place on my own. Then you'll need to find somewhere you can afford. That's the exciting challenge of independence. Alex, please, I didn't mean it like that. You meant it exactly like that. You said I was too safe and predictable, that you missed the excitement Derek provided. I was just frustrated. I don't actually want you to leave. Too late. The decision is made. You have 30 days. Update 2. The consequences unfold. The next 30 days were educational for both of us. Vanessa initially tried to qualify for the lease on her own income. The landlord required proof of income, at least 3 times the monthly rent. Her part-time boutique salary didn't come close. She asked about getting a cosigner. Her parents weren't financially qualified, and Derek wasn't interested in taking on that kind of responsibility for someone he'd already abandoned once. Week 2, she started apartment hunting in her actual price range. Turned out, places she could afford on $30,000 annually were significantly different from the place she'd been living while I covered most expenses. Shared apartments with multiple roommates in questionable neighborhoods. Studio apartments with no amenities. Places that required first month, current, last month, and security deposit up front. Week 3, she tried begging me to reconsider. Alex, I made a mistake. I appreciate everything you do for us. Please don't end 8 months over one stupid conversation. It wasn't one conversation, Vanessa. It was weeks of you comparing me negatively to someone who left you in financial ruin. I'll never mention Derek again. I'll be grateful for what we have. You should have been grateful before you told me I was boring for providing it. Please. I'm looking at places with 3 roommates and cockroaches. I can't live like that. Then get a full-time job and improve your income. Take some of that exciting risk Derek was so good at. She started crying. Why are you being so cruel? I'm not being cruel. I'm being spontaneous. Isn't that what you wanted? Week 4, she tried reaching out to Derek for help. Apparently, he was interested enough to sleep with her a few times, but had zero interest in helping with her housing crisis. He said he's not ready for that kind of commitment, she told me during one of her last-ditch conversations. Shocking. The exciting, unpredictable guy doesn't want responsibility. Who could have seen that coming? Moving day arrived, and Vanessa still hadn't secured alternative housing. She ended up having to store her belongings and move back in with her parents in the suburbs. As I was loading my final boxes, she made one last appeal. Alex, this is insane. 8 months of relationship over me saying I wanted more excitement. You didn't just want more excitement. You told me I was too boring and safe, that you missed what Derek provided. You got what you asked for, life without boring financial security. I didn't ask for this. You asked for someone who would choose excitement over stability. I chose the excitement of living alone over the stability of supporting someone who didn't appreciate it. I left her a note on the kitchen counter. Vanessa, you wanted excitement instead of safety. You wanted unpredictability instead of boring routine. You wanted someone who would take risks instead of plan everything. I've given you all three. Now you get to experience the excitement of qualifying for your own apartment, the unpredictability of living paycheck to paycheck, and the risk of making it on your own. Have fun with the thrill. Alex P.S. I've also removed all our photos from my social media and phone. Seemed like the kind of spontaneous decision someone exciting would make. Final update. Life has been dramatically better since removing myself from a relationship where financial responsibility was treated as a character flaw. My new apartment is perfect for one person. Better neighborhood, shorter commute, no shared expenses with someone who thought budgeting was boring. Vanessa's exciting new life played out exactly as predicted. She couldn't find housing she could afford in the city and had to move back with her parents at 29. She's now working full-time at a restaurant to pay her parents' rent while trying to save enough for a security deposit on her own place. The exciting unpredictability of food service scheduling and tip-dependent income. Her reunion with Derek lasted about 3 weeks. Turns out, exciting guys who leave women broke and homeless aren't usually interested in long-term relationships with women who just got rescued from their previous stable situation by their parents. Last I heard through mutual friends, Vanessa was still living at home and complaining about how unfair it is that I abandoned her just because she wanted more passion in our relationship. Zero acknowledgement that she specifically criticized my financial responsibility while benefiting from it. Started dating someone new recently. Sarah works in accounting, owns her own condo, appreciates predictable behavior like paying bills on time and planning for the future. When I told her about the Vanessa situation, her response was perfect. Anyone who thinks financial stability is boring has never had to provide it for themselves. The revenge wasn't elaborate or dramatic. It was just removing the financial safety net Vanessa was criticizing while using it. She wanted someone who would choose excitement over security, who would make impulsive decisions, who would provide unpredictability instead of boring routine. I gave her exactly that by spontaneously removing myself from her life and letting her experience the excitement of supporting herself. Vanessa thought she could have it both ways. The security of my income, covering her lifestyle, while maintaining the right to criticize me for being too predictable. Instead, she learned that exciting relationships and stable finances don't usually go together. Derek provided thrills but no security. I provided security, but got criticized for being boring. Now she gets to experience the thrill of financial independence, while the exciting guy she missed has moved on to someone else who appreciates uncertainty. The note said it all. Have fun with the thrill. Turns out the thrill of unpredictability includes things like qualifying for apartments on part-time retail income and asking your parents for rent money at 29. Vanessa S. got exactly what she asked for. Life free from the burden of boring financial security. Perfect lesson in being careful what you wish for. She wanted excitement instead of safety. She got eviction notices instead of stability. She wanted spontaneity instead of planning. She got homelessness instead of partnership. She wanted the uncertainty Derek provided instead of the predictability I offered. She got unemployment anxiety instead of shared expenses. Sometimes the most spontaneous thing you can do is remove yourself from someone's life when they don't appreciate what you provide. Vanessa learned that boring guys pay rent on time. Exciting guys leave you sleeping in your childhood bedroom at 29. The choice was always hers. She just thought choosing excitement meant keeping the safety net while criticizing the person providing it. Turns out you can't have both. She picked excitement. I picked sanity. Best spontaneous decision I ever made.